Hey guys, I hope you're having a blessed up Friday, and if you're not, I'm sure this live stream is going to help you. Today is really about worrying and what to do. I'm going to share an exercise, 2 exercises that I personally turn to and actually use today. Super powerful, always reliable. We talked about reliability yesterday, so welcome if you're joining me. Today we're talking about how to shape-shift worry into trust, into feeling safe, taking segments of feeling unsafe to feeling safe and trusting the process of your life. Remember, a few days ago we talked about the word pronoia. Pronoia is that everything is conspiring for my highest and greatest good. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always going to be working out to the highest, greatest good of my life. Pronoia. You can't hear me? How about now? Maybe turn your volume on. Try tapping the volume on. The volume works, so maybe you got to hit the button. All right, you guys, so today we are going to be talking about that, and so all I ask is that you share, and tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, I am hosting a free workshop, so it doesn't matter if you're single, if you're married, if you're happily dating. It's about being healthy, happy, and whole. I have couples I work with, and they receive a lot of value from these workshops. So it's how to attract conscious love and how to attract your most compatible soulmate. I know you're going to love it. It's totally free. The cost is to share, so just share with your people. And make sure you subscribe, TanyaColiver.com/calendar to get like all these videos and stuff like that. So today we're on day 16, and it's about no making reason to be worried in order to really build up your self-worth, self-appreciation, and the overall quality of your business, life, and relationships. Okay, so let's get clear on what does worry even mean. I talked about this a few days ago where the difference between anxiety and excitement has a part in the brain called the amygdala, and the only difference is that anxiety carries a cap of worry on it. And so when you get clear, well, what is worry? Worry is a common human emotion that involves feeling of anxiety or concern about a potential problem. So a problem that has not been or has happened, we're just anticipating it happening. If you understand the law of attraction, is that what you expect and what you're projecting out into your future is gonna boomerang back. So the only difference between anxiety and excitement from the negative space of the brain that looks like a little almond that carries on that negative thought and emotion is taking off worry. And so that's what I'll tell you a quick story and how it impacted me in a negative way. And if you know, your body is your subconscious. So what that means, when I was 29 years old, 28, I had competed in my second bikini competition. And I wanted to prove to myself that I can actually do it in a healthy way where I wouldn't have ended up with relapsing on addictions and stuff like that. So I ended up competing. I hired a coach. I've always hired a coach whenever I was scaling. And I hired a coach and I did the program. I competed, and I had this expectation that once I competed, I would be discovered and my career would take off and I would be making all this type of money and I'd get brand deals and sponsorships and my life would change and my relationships would change and everything would change. And I had this really goal. I had this hard goal. It was hard. It's hard to compete if you've ever competed. It requires a lot of discipline, a lot of focus, a lot of commitment, and it can project into really any area of life. So I always highly suggest if you ever have the opportunity. Well, actually, no, I don't tell you. Hold on. Scratch that. Rewind. Okay. So I had competed. I know the toast story. I had competed at 29 years old. I hit my target. I didn't place or anything like that, but I achieved a massive goal, was to compete and to do it in a healthy way where I didn't end up going into an addiction relapse. And so when I had done this, guess what? I competed and I was good and I was healthy, but nothing changed. And so this worry started to creep on because I put all of my expectations on this really big goal. And I don't know if you can relate to this. If you've ever set a really high goal for yourself, you achieved it, and you had this expectation that some way you'd feel different about yourself. Maybe you'd actually like yourself, or you would feel abundance, or you would feel whatever you felt, and nothing changed. You just had a check mark on a really hard goal that you achieved, and you felt maybe even worse about yourself. So that's what happened to me. I felt worse about myself. Things didn't change, and I then started projecting problems for my future. And because that accumulated over time, I started receiving really massive, painful back pain. And I was like 29. I was super healthy. I just had done the show, and I was just so worried about my future that I had manifested, the body's a subconscious, a tremendous, excruciating lower back pain. If you understand anything about the body has its own form of communication, and it yellow lights before it red lights, it's our responsibility to pay attention to what's going on a subconscious level of what the body's trying to communicate to us. And with that, I was just worried about my finances. I was worried about my finances and like how my career was going to take off, and it didn't take off. And so I was just always concerned with the future. And once I understood the underlying root cause of my lower back pain, like I couldn't even really work out at the point I was training clients, and I couldn't really work much, I was in so much pain. And nothing traumatic happened. It was just my thoughts every single day were crippling me physically. And they were putting a lot of strain in me that I started to not be able to perform. And then when you're in physical pain, it impacts you mentally, psychologically, it impacts your energy, it impacts your level of enthusiasm and how you're showing up. So it really does impact everything. And during that time, I just had to start with my mind, and I had to start with my thoughts. And what I had done is acceptance is the first space of making progress. And so I had made this list of everything that I could do starting with today. What am I capable of? And then I would make this list of everything that I've overcome in my life at that point for 29 years. What are the things that I've achieved when I was in adversity and really like hard times and I was worried about something? It always ended up working out. And if you go back and you think about those hard times where you were so like crippling yourself with worry and anxiety and stress, and if you look back and you're like, it worked out, I'm okay, I'm good, I'm actually stronger on the other side, I'm wiser on the other side, maybe you're more abundant on the other side, because you had to go through that friction in order to grow and to evolve. And there was a part in scripture I read this morning where they said, you know, if God gives us challenges in our day and in our life in order for us to grow and expand, because it's our testing to see, just like a game and you're an athlete, if there's no friction or challenges to be presented in front of you, how are you possibly going to handle the bigger things? And so we have these little moments of adversity, these little moments of challenges, these little moments of things, but you'll never be given something that you're not capable of handling, that you're not capable of getting better on the other side. And when you take that audit of all those moments of your life where you made it, you're here, you got on the other side, you were okay, regardless of what your situation or your circumstances today, whatever you're going through, whatever hardship you're going through mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, I want you to make that list of everything that you had overcome in your past, and remember that you made it. Things were okay on the other side. And so that always gives you some segment of like trusting the process of your life, because the opposite of worry is trust. And if you go back to that word pronoia, because they all intertwine together, is everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working for the highest and greatest good of me and my life and my relationships and my business. And it just gives you a sense of peace. Another exercise that I use is worry stems from the head. And one of the first energy systems of the body is the heart. And so when we come back to our heart and we anchor back in our heart through our meditation practice, that's where we have certain things for human performance. There's 4 pillars of human performance: mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And when you hone back into your heart, you're able to take all this chatter, we call it the monkey mind in yoga, take all this chatter and you bring it back down to the heart. And there's a pose in yoga, the child pose, where you teach your mind to become obedient to your heart, because your heart is where your life force is. Your heart is where your truth resides. And truth, and of course Miracles says truth can only be recognized, it can never be learned. And the first thing to recognize truth, because you can't rationalize it, you can't learn it, you can't, convince yourself, or logical, that's how we get out of our heart, is when we try to convince ourselves of something else, and then we're always like, oh, I should listen to my heart, I should listen to my intuition. It's all located here. So an anchoring exercise that I do when I meditate is I hone back and I imagine like all of this coming back here, and I put my energy in here, and I'll even put my hands on my heart, and I'll just connect to the breath, because your breath is that space that separates the stimulus and response. That breath is like this space where you find your peace. It's a space where you find your security and your safety and your anchor and your grounding. And so that's why every single day, part of even my personal day and what I teach my clients in my inner circle is that you have to take moments in your day to keep yourself anchored, to keep yourself grounded, to keep yourself in a flow state, to keep yourself at your most clear space, because that's how you get to operate at peak performance no matter what life throws at you. And when you can take that cap of worry off of the anxiety, it transitions into excitement and perseverance and enthusiasm about how great life really is. But sometimes we get so burdened down by the heaviness of things that we're projecting that haven't even happened and might probably will never happen. So I hope today's live stream served you in some way, shape, and form. Please share this with your people, and I hope that you can meet me tonight at 7:30. We're gonna be sipping some tea. We're gonna have a good time. Drink your water, drink your magnesium, whatever you wanna bring at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The cost of showing up in this workshop, it is a workshop. I'm going to be teaching you segments on how to attract conscious love, how to become conscious love, because we can only attract what we're capable of receiving, of what we pour into ourselves. That is going to be at tanyacoliver.com/calendar. I have 2 more emails going out today, so you will receive the Google link inside of there. This is only going out to my VIP email list, which you guys are invited. And that's it for today. So let me know how you enjoyed today's workshop. The only thing I wanted to say, did I cover everything? Anxiety is about focusing on potential problem versus where I am and what I've got, and just auditing that. Yeah, so that's it. All right, guys, I'll see you later. I'll see you tonight at 7:30. Just share with your friends. It doesn't matter if you're single, married, or in a healthy relationship. This workshop is great for everybody. All right, bye. Bye.